Writer said, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Another songwriter sang about, specifically about sweet love. And that's what we're all here for. A Course in Miracles tells us that we're not here to, that our task isn't really to seek love, to try to seek love out, but really to seek and find all the barriers within ourselves that we've built against love, to clear from us the barriers to the awareness of love's presence. And that is what our Sunday Hope and Healing session today is focused on, is about clearing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And we're going to be doing that utilizing the Transcending the Matrix technique to help clear away those blockages. All right. So peace and love, everybody, and welcome to another Sunday Hope and Healing session. We're glad to be here with you as we are every time we come together. And so if you know somebody who is complaining about not having enough love in their life, greetings, Curly Conscious King. Or if you know somebody who wants to experience more love in their life, or if you know of someone who has love flowing in a variety of ways, but has someone that they care about who would like to see love flowing, maybe in terms of family relationships, maybe in terms of their quote unquote love life. If you know of anybody who would like to see more love operating in the world, because there's a lot of stuff operating in the world that is not love, that does not resonate with the frequency of love, then I encourage you to share this with them. Because after all, we are endeavoring to enter into a sustainable state of supreme satisfaction. We are endeavoring to create within ourselves and perhaps in the larger world a place where we're safe, a place where love is vibrating profoundly, and it is reigning in the hearts of all people everywhere. You see, the more love is inside of you, the better it is for the people in your life. The more love that is inside of other people that they're tapped into, the better it is for your life as well. And so the more people that we have operating in a frequency and in a vibration of love, the more people who are living and expressing love, and there are a variety of forms of love. It can be romantic, and it can be a brotherly, sisterly type of love. It can be the general unconditional love. We need all of that. We need all of that. And so that's what our Sunday Hope and Healing session is about today. If you are a person who is experiencing a runner-chaser dynamic, if you are a person who has experienced heartbreak, if you are a person who has a wonderful, loving relationship and you would like to, and wonderful, loving relationships, and you would like to show up more fully as love in the lives of the people whom you care about, then this is for you. Michael Jackson, and I quote this a lot, talked about being a victim of a selfish kind of love. Well, there was maybe some love there, and there was some other stuff that's not love that was perhaps mixed in there with it. And maybe you know a little something about that in your own life as well. I'm going to take the maybe out. If you're human, you've experienced some of that in your own life, and it's a good chance that whatever barriers that you have up to love have also resulted in the people in your life that you care about maybe not feeling and experiencing your love as fully as they otherwise would be able to if some of those blockages to the awareness of love's presence were cleared up. And so that's something that's in A Course in Miracles. What I kind of started off saying, that our job isn't really just simply to seek and find love. And I'm speaking as someone who is truly an eternal romantic, always have been, truly an eternal romantic. It isn't just about looking for love, but clearing away all the stuff in us that keeps us from being aware that love is there. And then we attract loving experiences into our lives. And then we're able to convey loving experiences and how it is that we interact and how it is that we share with others. Okay. And the Bible says that God is love, and they that dwell in love dwell in God. Okay. It doesn't say they that dwell in religion dwell in God. And I'm not knocking religion, by the way. Whatever your religion might be, I'm not knocking that. But the essence, it's saying the essence of what puts you in alignment with God is love. Love in its truest form, in its purest, truest form, that loves just because, that loves in a way that is effectual, that loves not based on conditions, but based on beingness. And you and I were created in that same image and in that same likeness. So to be disconnected from love is to be simultaneously disconnected from God and disconnected from your truest self. But as I said earlier, as we are here endeavoring to enter into a sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, not temporary satisfaction, but a sustainable satisfaction, not a really good satisfaction that will wear off. You know, it can be very satisfying to have an explosive orgasm, but that orgasm wears off. It may feel supremely satisfying, but it's temporary. It passes within a few moments. But I'm talking about a sustainable state of supreme satisfaction where it just doesn't go away, where it just doesn't go away, where the fullest experience of satisfaction is yours and mine. And it just keeps on keeping on. Are you about that life? Is that what you want for your life? I know it's certainly what I want for mine. And if you are here for the Sunday Hope and Healing sessions, I presume that it's something that you want for your life as well. And in fact, I know that we all ultimately want that. Some of us are thinking about it more than others. Some of us are chasing temporary things more. Some of us are really wanting to get to the heart of true joy and true fulfillment. And that's what we're endeavoring to do. And so we're going to be doing some healing to clear up some blockages to the awareness of love's presence. God is love, and God is everywhere equally present. And so if you are anywhere, you are in the presence of love. There are people in our lives, I can tell you in my own life, there are people in my life that loved me and are still in my life that loved me now and loved me then. But I was seeing some other things that hindered me from fully seeing as well the depth of their love for me. And maybe it wasn't showing up in the way that I wanted to see it show up. And maybe that's been your experience. And maybe it's the experience of all of us in one way or another. And often we're so busy looking at our own experience and how it isn't matching up to what it is that we would most desire. And then we miss it and don't quite see that other people are also having that experience. But I've made up in my mind that I want to be a person who is very intentional about what it is that I cause other people to experience in my presence. I've decided that I want to be very intentional about what experiences I want to cause a person to experience who's in my life. Okay. And so that means that there's some stuff in me that needs to be cleared up so I can show up more fully as love. And if that's something that you would want, then I certainly invite you to participate in this healing that we're going to be doing today. It's going to be a general healing that whoever is on the broadcast, and if you share it with someone, it will apply with them as well. But there are some specific things in your own individual life, in your own individual journey that could really benefit from. I just realized my name is on the bottom of the screen. And I did not have any intention for that to be the case. I don't know why it is sitting there. But I really would like to have that removed. I don't even see how to get it. It isn't even in the right color. It just dawned on me. Oh well, I don't have too long to be fooling around with that. We've got important business to be tending to today. So I guess that's just going to be sitting there chilling. All right. Again, I don't know why that's the, okay, well, that helps a little bit. Okay. All right. Apologies for the getting sidetracked there. Just want the broadcast to look as good as it can possibly look. And I know I'm also noticing that what is all this stuff that happened? The little Sunday Hope and Healing session thing isn't there. There we are. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this healing. Let's get into this healing. I'm going to start with a prayer. And I'm going to encourage you to state your name in this prayer when we're doing this prayer. I want to encourage you to state the name of anyone who you believe will benefit from this prayer, who you'd like them to experience love showing up more fully in their lives. Okay. So God, I know you to be a healer. You are the source of all love, a love that is patient and is kind, a love that loves just because it is love's own nature to be itself. A love that doesn't try to control, a love that doesn't endeavor to manipulate, a love that doesn't keep a record of wrongs, but a love that rejoices in the truth, a love that is perpetual, that is persistent, that is continual, a love that perseveres and never fails. And I'm so thankful that through the union that we share, through the power of your unconditional love, I'm blessed to be able to participate in it and demonstrate you as a healer. On the behalf of, please state your name at this time, everyone, and anyone else that you want to be able to partake of this healing, whether silently or out loud. Thank you, God, for the purpose of neutralizing the root cause and totally clearing away the root cause of all blockages and all barriers that we have to the awareness of love's presence from the point of the causal root in the entire energy field of every strand of DNA in every cell of each one of our bodies, as well as in the collective mind of humanity. And transmuting it into and in erasing it, replacing it with a clear sense of the love that is always present, of the love that is available, and allowing us to be so fully available to that love, and allowing love to be so fully available to us and through us in such a way that we are walking in love, that we're speaking in love, that we're working in love, that we're going about our day-to-day lives in love, and those who enter our presence are aware that they are in the presence of love. Thank you so much, God. Thank you so much. And I bear witness to our wholeness on this date and in this time and space called now. Thank you for this gift of your divine love. It is done. It is done. It is done. All right, so let's get into this healing, clearing away some of these blocks. And what some of the issues that we have is our own perceived need to try to control love. Love is not to be controlled. The poet Khalil Gibran, who offered the prophet Said, seek not that you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. And I'm going to tell you today that you are worthy of love. All right. All right. So um, let's deal first of all with um, our subconscious misperceptions about love. Our subconscious misperceptions about love from the way that we've been socialized to believe what love is, which is really not always love, but frequently like a watered down version of it. Okay. All right. Now, let's look at um, like patterns within our family lineage that have been either misconstrued as far as love is concerned, or where there's the idea that love equals pain because someone perhaps gave their heart to love and ended up being hurt. All right, so we want to clear away not only those negative and false belief systems, but also um, the pain and the residuals of pain from being hurt when one uh, allowed them to be somewhat open to love. Okay. I say somewhat open to love because maybe you're even then had some blockages around, or you maybe subconsciously, had some fears regarding love. So there are some things that Christians believe based on what I believe is a less than full interpretation and understanding of what the biblical scriptures say. In one place, it's frequently translated um, that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and it says that in another place it says that God is love, and they that dwell in love dwell in God. And so there's like in a interesting kind of way, kind of perception that to be in the presence of God is something that we should be afraid of, and also that love is something that we should be afraid of. So we want to clear out. We want to clear out those errant perspectives. It's a twist that's not quite accurate as it relates to love. We want to clear that out. All right. A better rendering in today's English is not that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, but to be in awe of God is the beginning of wisdom. In that context, and I know that there's a lot that we look at in the world and we see these wonderful things in the world. We see the universe is opening up and making opportunities available for us, but yet behind the universe itself is the one who created the universe. The universe, if you break it down etymologically, universe means one song. Who is the singer of the one song? Who is the creator of the one song? Who is the one conducting this grand cosmic concerto? And that is the creator and the sustainer of the heavens and the earth and the lover of your soul. Okay. And so if we have a clear understanding, to be able to look at the vastness of the cosmos and imagine what it took to bring all that into being, and that some divine infinite intelligence whose character is so profoundly good that it can love you completely unconditionally, even with all of your flaws and all of your mistakes. Is not that something to be in awe of? When you can exist in that type of a state of awe, then you're moving in the direction of wisdom, right? And so these things aren't contradictory, but it helps us to have a clear understanding because that's that same Bible also says that God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. So why would it try to convince us that we need to be afraid of God while simultaneously telling us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind? A sound mind, a clear-headed mind, is not one that's dwelling in fear. Fear being false evidence appearing real. Last week we talked about how there's a lot of times where there's stuff, or maybe it was the week before, a lot of times there's stuff that has some element of truth to it, but it's twisted. I think that was last week. There are things that God designed that we in our limited consciousness end up twisting, and then it ends up becoming debased. Right? So let's strengthen us to be able to, again, remove the root of the fear-based thinking within our consciousness. Now, that fear-based consciousness exists within most of us. We came into the earth in a lot of ways with some level of fear-based consciousness, a consciousness that was rooted in the illusions of separation and limitation. And the truth is to see beyond that, recognizing that things aren't as they seem, that we really are all one, that all of creation is one. Everything in the universe is all part of one song, that we're all one. Okay. And that we don't need to be at odds with each other. We don't need to hate one another. We don't need to be afraid of one another, because we really are all one. The person who's making decisions, maybe in a high place, from a high place of so-called authority, we can hold a different consciousness where we're generous in our hearts. We might not like them on the level of personality, but we're able to be generous in our hearts concerning them. I want to strengthen us to help us to be generous in our hearts in terms of how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive other people, including those who we don't like on the level of personality. What is a personality? A personality is one's persona. What is a persona? A persona is a mask. It's a disguise. It's what hides someone from their true selves. It's what hides you from being able to see someone's true self, because they're wearing a mask. Oops, thank you for that clarification, Suni Maria. I've got the wrong, how did I do that? Oh, that's how I did that. Okay, thank you for that clarification. There's been things scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We do have a Transcending the Matrix class coming up in a couple weeks, April 10th through 12th. And I apparently had one up that was from 2024. So my apologies for that. Thank you again, Suni Maria, for pointing that out. I'm glad that we're able to get that fixed. Okay. One another thing that creates for us a block to the awareness of love's presence. Well, there have been things that we've heard from others. There have been things that people have spoken over our lives. Maybe they didn't intend it for evil, but it may have still shown up as some form of mental poisoning. We want to clear that mental poisoning out. A lot of times people say things that taint our thinking, taint our perception, taint our belief system, and they're doing it from a good-hearted place, or intending to do it from a good-hearted place, but they're doing so from a lack of knowledge, from a lack of true awareness, okay, from a limited perception that actually can create within subtle levels of our consciousness, and maybe not so subtle levels of our consciousness, things that will actually put in motion blockages for us, whether it relates to our physical health or our emotional state or our belief system, which then in turn ends up becoming subconsciously stuff that's going on in our minds and outward ends up being outwardly pictured in our lives. Okay, so we want to clear out that mental poisoning. We want to replace that with the pure love and divine light of God. Okay, that heals and clears all darkness, makes all things whole. Okay. All right. And we want to forgive those who engaged in some form of mental poisoning that we ended up being the recipient of. To have compassion from them because they were really just doing their best to kind of try to protect us, perhaps in the best way that they knew how, even if their information was an error. May have been out of fear, but they may have been coming from a good place and wanting to protect us somehow, or wanting to look out for us in the best way that they knew how. Okay. So to be able to have a sense of compassion for them. Okay. And even gratitude for the place where their hearts were without requiring their limited perception or fear-based perception to negatively impact us. And also directing love and light towards them. So the things that are in their fear-based perspective might experience an infusion of light, of pure love and divine light in the areas of their consciousness where they've been operating from limited awareness. Okay. I also want to clear out any curses that we may have experienced as it relates to blockages of the awareness of love's presence. Now, a curse isn't always necessarily something that a witch or something is doing, or a person who's dabbling in the dark arts is doing. A curse, greetings, Jennifer Bliss. A curse is something that someone, it's not necessarily always intentional. It's something that is spoken, but it's not always necessarily coming from a bad place either. It could be coming from a bad place, but it's not necessarily always coming from a bad place. Okay. It could be intentional and it could be unintentional as well. So we want to clear away any curses that we might have going on within our energy field as it relates to any curses relative to being able to fully experience love, or to experience the awareness of love's presence. Okay. We might interpret in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve being banned from the Garden of Eden, we might interpret that as a curse. Okay. But God is fully loving. God isn't seeking to restrict us from love or restrict us from the fullest experience of it. That whole Adam and Eve thing is a whole different teaching for a whole different day. But I do want to strengthen us to be able to release any limited belief systems about God not wanting love for us, or that God would curse us in a way that would restrict us or make us less worthy of that which is for our highest and best good. Do you know that the things that you expose yourself to, the things that you welcome in your life, the things that you choose to align yourself with, or the things that you choose not to align yourself with, are a reflection of the degree to which you love yourself? Did you know that? Okay. And if you're experiencing a lack of love, if you're not experiencing love to the degree that you would like to, then it may be pointing to some areas where you can show up as love more fully for yourself. Okay. If you're actually holding thoughts that you're not being loved the way that you deserve to be loved, may that point to you as an indication that there are some ways in which you can love yourself more fully. Okay, so we want to strengthen us to be able to open up, not only open up our heart more fully to love, but to be able to open up our mind more fully to love. Okay, where every cell of our body is open to the experience of love's presence. Now this, and I know that you all can't really see what I'm doing. There's some people who've been initiated into the Transcending the Matrix system and have some awareness of what I'm doing. Nobody can really see what it is that I'm doing. But the key factor that brings about the healing and everything, every single thing that I'm mentioning, is the infusion of the presence of the pure love of God entering into the spaces within our consciousness and the spaces even within our body temples where we're holding cellular memories, or where we're withholding within our own cellular structure, as well as our greater energetic field. These unresolved things, these limited belief systems, these fear-based perspectives, these unresolved things that we need to reconcile within us. Okay, it's love that actually is the healing balm, that pure love of God, which is the healing balm that actually clears out the karma, that clears out the trauma, that clears out the ancestral issues, right? That clears out the negative emotions and transmutes them into more favorable emotional states. Okay. That clears out the curses and the spells and all of that other stuff. Okay. All right. So I want to actually address right now the stories that we tell ourselves that we don't need in one way or another, the stories we tell ourselves that we don't believe love, that we don't believe that we need love, or that we don't believe in love. Okay, I want to clear those subconscious things within the hidden recesses of the secret chambers of our soul, to welcome in the light of love's presence. You see, we have a lot of times where we've been hurt or different things have happened that didn't feel good to us. We tried to stuff those things into a place where nobody could reach us again so that we wouldn't experience that hurt again. And what we've done is we've taken that and stuck it in a dungeon somewhere in the hidden recesses of our soul, so to speak, so that that place where we felt vulnerable and hurt wouldn't be accessed for someone to be able to potentially hurt us again. And so what that's done is it's created a dark room within the recesses of our beingness that has not been open to the experience of the light of God's love. And so we want to welcome into those places, into those chambers within our soul, so to speak, where we've closed ourselves off from the light of God's love. We want to welcome the light of God's love back into those places and spaces. Okay. And so one of the things that is coming up right now is actually trauma. And maybe you've experienced this directly, maybe you haven't, maybe you're just connected with other people who have. But I want to address sexual trauma. I want to clear out any sexual trauma from the point of the root cause. and bring the light of God's love into the place where that sexual trauma has been stored, within the cells of the body where that sexual trauma has been stored, within the neural pathways within the brain where that sexual trauma has been stored. Within the repeated nerve synapses where that sexual trauma continues to be communicated. I'm going to welcome in the pure love and divine light of God into those spaces for true deep healing to manifest. And where one can be wise with healthy boundaries while simultaneously being fully and completely open to being able to see love at work, real love at work, and to even be able to demonstrate grace to those who fall short in their expressions of love. Maybe one or both parents, weren't able to give you the love that you needed in the way that you needed. Maybe a lover, wasn't able to show up as love in the way that you were looking for, in the way that you needed. Okay. Maybe a friend, sibling, some other family member wasn't able to show up as love in the way that you needed or the way that you thought, it was important or felt like it was important for you to experience it. Okay, so to be able to extend grace to them and extend grace to yourself, and to be able to forgive those who hurt you in the past, to truly make room for people to love you more fully in the present and in the future. And to be able to even see the people that hurt you in the past differently now. From a place again of having a generous heart concerning. Okay. All right. Now, let's get to something else. Openness and receptivity to that which brings you positive energy, loving, affirmative energy. Okay. So where you're actually able to have an internal resonance with that which is for your good. A lot of times we say we want something. We think that we want something, but we subconsciously push it away because of the baggage that we have going on. Like there's something that we're wanting, but it's like getting on a flight. There's certain bags that you can't check on the flight depending on how big or how heavy it is. Or you might have to pay extra to be able to check that bag. And certainly there's a limitation on what baggage you're able to bring onto a flight. Okay. Because that plane is going to need to ascend. And how well it is able to how well it is able to ascend is related to how much weight is being carried. And there's some things there's some baggage that we have that's weighed us down. And we want to go to higher heights in love, perhaps, but we've got some baggage that we need to be willing to let go of. And if we're not willing to let go of that baggage, we're finding that baggage will cost us something extra. Okay. And so, whereas we might be complaining about the extra cost that our baggage is bringing us, sometimes it's beneficial to release the baggage, to recognize, well, this isn't really something that I actually need to continue to carry with me. I can actually travel a little lighter than I thought that I needed to. I can lay down these burdens. I think about this old song, glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burdens down. Are you hearing me this morning? So let's look at whatever our emotional attachment is to the burdens that we've been carrying around, or to the baggage that we've been carrying around. And let's actually address and release our attachment to our own baggage, our attachment to our own drama, bringing the light of God's love into the places where we're holding an attachment to drama, or we're holding an attachment to the baggage. It could be physical baggage that we're holding on to. We could be holding on to physically within the cells of our bodies. Okay. It could be baggage that we're holding on to physically that has been transmitted sexually through the semen. Okay. Or other body fluids. Releasing that baggage. Welcoming in the light of God's love to purify it, transform it, break it down into quantum particles and transmute it into photons of light. It could be spiritual baggage from the way that we perceive others, as well as to any spiritual energy that's attached itself to us. To be able to welcome in the light of God's love, to transmute that, clear that out. It could be emotional baggage from things that we just have been through, that we've been holding on to emotionally, and it's become like a companion. We somehow feel safe with it because it's been a part of us for so long. And sometimes the idea of letting go of that which has been a part of our lives for so long might feel a little scary. So I want to address that fear of letting go, the fear of letting go of pain, the fear of letting go of trauma, the fear of letting go of baggage. The fear of letting go of the past. The fear of letting go of a specific person. Or the fear of letting go of certain memories with a specific person. Some people who have been through really traumatic relationships with people, sometimes after the relationship is ended, will idealize the person that really wasn't good to them. That's not the same thing as holding a gentle place in your heart for someone. That's actually failing to hold a gentle place in your heart for yourself. You can actually recognize that people that you have been involved with, not everyone was for you. You can bless the experience for what it was, but not hold on to any nostalgia, making it, subconsciously in your mind, making it more than what it actually was. I've encountered a lot of people who've done that. And so it ended up hindering them being able to move forward in what would have been actually healthy relationships with people. I've experienced this with both men and women who've encountered that. Okay. So to be able to be, let's look at fear of the future. I'm going to clear out any fear of the future or fears of the past projected into the future. I want to welcome in the light of God's love into that space. Okay. All right. And now let's look also at I want to look at masculine energy. Now I want to look at feminine energy. But right now I want to look specifically at feminine energy. Now, feminine energy isn't just about a man. I mean, feminine energy isn't just about a girl or a woman. Feminine energy, everything in the universe is masculine, feminine. Okay, everything in the physical universe, and even a lot in the non-physical universe, is masculine energy or feminine energy. Feminine energy takes in, receives. Okay, so we want to look at blockages where we might have fear as it relates to taking in. Okay, because maybe some of the things that you took in was other people's bad energy, negative energy. So we want to clear that out. Maybe you were put in a position where you were violated in some way, and you were what felt like being forced to take something in that you didn't want to take in. Now, that could be the function of sodomy or of rape. We want to clear those things out. It could be from the form some other form of molestation. But it could also be, people lashing out in anger, imposing their negative energy on you, where you received that and took that in. And then it had a weird place, it ended up showing up in your body as discomfort in your body, as tension in your body, as anxiety. We want to clear that. And strengthen you to be able to actually, for all of us, to be able to have a filter that filters out the so-called negative or bad energy coming into us that does not support our highest and best good, that does not support our well-being, while simultaneously allowing that which is loving, that which is supportive, that which is healing, that which is nurturing, that which is for our highest, absolute highest and best good to be able to come in and receive a welcome place. Okay. But where only that good comes to us, where only the blessings come to us. Right. And to actually also have a spirit of discernment in terms of what will serve our best good and what won't. Therefore, what we welcome in and what we won't. All right. Now let's look at in terms of the masculine energy, which deals with extending out, which energy that you're putting out or energy that you're putting in to something else or somewhere else. Okay. So in terms of fear of taking a step, fear of actually acting out in love and expressing love, fear of expressing love, fear of taking a step, an important and necessary step that would actually make one available to love and to make and to extend love in a way that it can be lovingly received. Okay. Sometimes we might have I believe that love is a verb. It's not just an emotion, but it's a verb. That love is a action word. That love shows up as action. Okay. And sometimes we don't always engage in the actions that are fully expressive of love. Maybe we don't want to put ourselves out there. Maybe we might have a fear that if we act, this other person isn't going to act in a reciprocal way. Okay, so let's look at fear of love not being reciprocated. there's a word that fear of experiencing unrequited love. So let's resolve that. Bring the light of love's presence into the light of God's love, into the presence within our consciousness that has held on to the fear of experiencing unrequited. Okay. All right. Now let's also address address the errant idea that love shows up as control. Love is not controlling. And so if we love somebody and we're trying to control their actions, then our love is not showing up fully as love. We might care for someone, but if our actions are showing up as controlling, if our behavior is showing up as controlling, then there's something else mixed in with the love, okay, that is then tainting that love and not allowing love to flow freely. Okay, it's based in fear and it's imposing fear. Okay, we want to be clear of the fear, that false evidence that appears real. In other words, we want to clear the blocks to the awareness of love's presence because we want to see what is true. What is true is love. We want to be able to see and to experience love as love in its truest sense. Okay. Now, let's look at the masculine-feminine union. Okay, the union of the masculine energy and the feminine energy in a balanced way to where we are fully open to give and fully open to receive love simultaneously. Okay. We're fully open to the extending of love in a very pure and true sense. And we're fully open to the receiving of love in a very true sense. Okay. All right. All right. So I want to really strengthen us in terms of being living, breathing expressions of love that don't feel a need to run from it nor hide it, but wear it just like you're wearing whatever clothing you're wearing right now. You wear it and folk can see it on you when they're in your presence. You're wearing it in such a way that you're able to enter into a space and the atmosphere is able to shift because you coming into the space is bringing a love into the space that just shifts the atmosphere naturally, shifts the atmosphere. Okay, that's definitely the type of person I endeavor to be. Sometimes I'm successful with it. Let's strengthen us all to be successful in being able to shift an atmosphere just with our presence, because with our presence, there's a clear expression and freedom for love to flow. Okay, so it allows the love to flow in that space more freely. Right? I'm going to strengthen us all for that. All right. Okay. God, thank you so much for this healing that you've allowed to happen on our behalf today. May this healing continue to grow and build, that we might see more love and see it more fully, that we might feel more love and feel it more fully, that we might demonstrate more love and demonstrate it more fully, that we might be more the love that we really are and be it more fully. And for this and all other things, we give great thanks and affirm it is done, it is done, it is done. All right, beloved. Jennifer Bliss, Curly Conscious King, Sony Maria, and everyone else who's been here with us today. Pray greatest blessings upon you. The love flows in your life in such wonderful ways. And that because of the love in you, other people are able to have something shift in them that allows them to show up more fully as love. Not that you're trying to manipulate them into being more loving, but because of the freedom of expression that love has in you, it actually is speaking to the cells within them and are activating things within them that help free them up to be more available to love and to be more available to love flowing more freely. Course in Miracles, I started off talking about it because it talks about that our job isn't to, just to find love, because love is there. It's like God is here. There's no spot where God is not. But what does need to be done is that we need to have cleared from us the blocks to the awareness of love's presence so that we can see and feel and experience it more fully. Okay. So that we can see and feel and experience it more fully. Well, something else, of course, in Miracles says is that when we are healed, we are not healed alone. And so the more healing that you experience, the more healing that other people in your circle and other people with whom you come in contact with, as a result from you operating from a more whole place, it's able to naturally free up some things within them. Okay. And, oh, how beautiful is that for us to, there's a Agape International Spiritual Center. I know they at least used to sing this song that says, I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. May we all be able to really, truly love God with everything that's in us. Love ourselves as an expression of God. And from that God-centered expression of ourselves, to be able to love other people in such a way that it frees them up to love even more fully so that they can love themselves in a way that clears away the blockages that are hindering them from love and allows them to also in turn love us. Now, we're not loving them so that they'll love us. We're loving them because we love them. And because we love them in a way that is whole and pure, it opens up a space for them to be able to become more available to love too. Not because we're imposing it on them, but because we have essentially in this game of spiritual hide and go seek, we found a soul with whom we had an agreement before we came into this earth. And then we remembered who they were. We recognized who they were. We recognized that they are. And so they were able to take off their disguise, that they were something other than love. They were able to take off that mask and show up as who they really are. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I love you all. I'm so glad that you're here. I really do appreciate you being here. Thank you for the role that you're playing, doing your part in terms of endeavoring to be the fullest version of yourself, the best version of yourself, of making yourself available to love more freely and making love more freely available to you. I appreciate you. I really do. I really appreciate you doing that, and for your investment of time in coming here and participating in this Sunday Hope and Healing session. And for everybody who chooses to share this with someone else, I really appreciate you doing that too, because my goal really is, my endeavor really is to spread the healing, to spread the love, and to make a difference in this world. And the more people this type of stuff reaches, the better it is for all of us. The more healing there is that's going out into the world, the better the better it is for the people that we're sharing this with, the better it is for ourselves, the better it is for this place, third sphere from the sun called the earth. Anyway, that's it for today. And until we meet again, as we continue to endeavor to enter into a sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, I bid you adieu with peace and love. And I'll catch you next time.